Good morning. It is Wednesday and a gorgeous summer day in Texas in the hill country, beautiful Fredericksburg. And a couple updates. Coco is riding with me. Frank is riding with Dad, little Frankie D. And his, I wanted Coco to remember that she is still the only queen and she doesn't need to be all, nervous about things. She's still my main girl, always will be. And we're going to work like always, aren't we, Beans? Yes, ma'am. Whole 30 is going great. This is not a Diet Coke. This is an unsweet iced tea. I can't say I love it the same as Diet Coke, but I'm working on it and I intend to fully get there. And I have not had a Diet Coke since I started this. Interestingly, in my car, things you wouldn't typically see on the way to work. Food for later, a bag of broccoli, really good actually, and a banana. Bag of broccoli and banana, all the B's today. The broccoli, again, you just put a teaspoon or so of olive oil on a sheet tray, sorry boo, and you chop up the broccoli florets, you toss them in that and a little bit of garlic salt, 450 for 20 minutes, and they're actually like dessert. People I know that hate vegetables love those, so that's a great tip for you there. Great trick. The other update is we are getting ready slowly but surely for the move. It's why I wasn't on yesterday. Stayed home all day, working incredibly hard, cleaning out closets. Those of you with teenagers will know something about that. Can you imagine? You've lived in a house 6 years and all of your kids from 14 to 20-ish range was in that house. Can you imagine the level of horror and disgust digging to the back of those closets and just be like, what is this? That's what I really should have videoed in fast time motion because it was crazy. I threw out 7 bags from Seeley's room alone, and I have 3 bags I was able to salvage that I'm taking to donate today. So we're getting there, but man, it is a long road to hoe, let me tell you. Okay, so talking about vacations, one of the most, well, we've done a lot of adventurous vacations, but I would say the one that people are usually most surprised about or think is the most shocking is home exchange. So I'm curious if any of y'all have ever seen the movie, I think it's called Holiday, isn't it? Something like that. It's a movie where a gal does exchanges homes with a lady with a beautiful, the cute lady with the little cottage in England, changes place with a lady in, I think, LA, who's very successful. They trade houses. Well, we've done it in real life, twice actually. We did it in England when the girls were around 12-ish, so about 9 years ago, give or take. And that was like a 17-day exchange in Norwich, spelled Norwich for us Anglo-American people, England. And the crazy thing is there's no money involved. You get on this website called homeexchange.com, highly recommend it if you're adventurous, and you find people to exchange with. You exchange houses, and if agreeable, as it was in our cases, you exchange cars. You kind of just exchange lives, literally, for a little while. So this is crazy. So on the England exchange, we fly to England. Picture this. We land at Heathrow. They have overnighted us their keys to their car, nice 500 series BMW. We've left them our car. This being Texas, we sent one of our friends to go pick them up at the airport. Tammy Smith, I think, picked them up and gave them kind of a tour of the place, took them around the house, showed them the car, gave them the keys. Well, for us, they didn't have that, so they were leaving the car at the airport, Heathrow nonetheless. So they overnighted us this set of keys with instructions at Heathrow again on how to find the car. So amazingly, we found the car out of all those parking lots. And so, of course, we're driving on the wrong side of the road, as we would call it, or the left side of the road over there, which, of course, none of us have done. And it's in a blinding rain, so we just come peeling out of the garage, on the wrong side of the road in a blinding rain. But we managed to make the 2.5-hour drive to Norwich, jet-lagged. We get to the house, and we stay there for 17 days and kind of live in their little world, which is amazing because the food in the pantry is all so different from what we eat. You go to the grocery store, everything's different, everything's smaller. You go to the milk section, and there's no such thing as a gallon jug. Everything's small, very petite. So that was incredible, just even going through the grocery stores. I had a great time, drove into London and stayed there in a hotel 2 or 3 nights, then went back out to the house. We had so many people there that live in the area stop and go, "You drove into London?" We don't drive into London. London's crazy. We're like, yeah, we noticed. So, but what an experience, especially if you have kids in that age range. because I feel like the experience they got and just the cultural immersion from that was like no other. It's totally different than being on a tour, even when it's a self-guided tour or self-directed, because you get to meet people. We met their family members who, of course, were so curious and came over and took us to dinner and what have you. And that was pretty amazing. Now, see, this is the way it is. When you're a mom, it never stops. So, even though your kids are older, when one of them has a migraine, you have to, I know, Boo Kitty, you have to go take and put a Sonic tea on their porch. So, the porch is right there. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we go. Come on, Cokie, get back in your spot. Back you go. Come on. She knows her spot. So that's the gist of our English exchange, and we enjoyed it so much. And the people we exchanged with really enjoyed it. We had other friends invite them over for dinner. I mean, what a great way to learn about our world and about how everyone's culture is the same and how everyone's culture is different. I think that's pretty neat. So then we had so much fun with that one. Then a couple years later, we decided, let's do it again. Let's go to Switzerland. So we found a wonderful family there who wanted to exchange with us. And so again, we traded homes, cars, lives for this time a month. It was about 30 days. Flew over there. First thing that happens, we get there and we realize we're gonna need some food. So we get the car, we get the food to go to the grocery store. So the girls and I, this is when I was married to the girl's father, Barry. He was back at the house. The girls and I get in the Volvo and start, okay, we're gonna go out and find some food. We can do this. So we drive around. Now what you'll find is most of Europe, the vast majority of Europe, speaks English. I mean, they are very astute at picking up the languages, and they emphasize it. And let's face it, not to give them too much credit, they always have a lot more opportunity, I would say, to practice than we do, because people speak a lot of different languages there, and you hear it all the time. So Switzerland, not so much. Switzerland, there's a German part and there's a French part. Well, we were staying in Fribourg, over in the French part, and that's what they spoke, and so they were not so much in the small towns about speaking the English, which is fine. But so we go to find the grocery store. We manage. We get there and we go, okay, you need a French franc, because they also weren't doing the euro. So we're like, you need a French franc to rent your grocery cart. So we're like, okay, we don't have a French franc, but they're very nice, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna spot you the franc, no big deal. We'll get you at the end. And I said, okay, cool. So we get our French franc, and I pull out my credit cards to show, to make sure up in advance you're going to be able to take this. And I show them a MasterCard. They're like, oh, yes, no problem. So we go buy a huge grocery cart load full of food. Everyone's staring at us, because only Americans buy these heaping carts of groceries. Everyone has like 6 items in their cart. I think they go more often than we do. So we have this huge cart full of food. It's going to last us a month, you know. We get up to the top of the counter, and we try to run the card, and it won't go through. And they start looking at it, and they're going, oh, no, it's Maestro card. They don't take MasterCard, they take Maestro card with the same little interlocking circles. Yeah. So we're like, are you kidding me? So like, okay, no worries. They're like, oh, basically they say without saying, they'll hold their cart there, you know, while we go find a bank to get some French francs. So we hop in the car again, and we're thinking, how are we going to do this? Because even this was, you know, 5 years ago or so. We could use a little bit of internet, but naturally that's, you know, using your data over there, even on the international plan, is still very expensive. And it's very limited what you're allowed to purchase without going minute by minute, which is crazy expensive. So we get in the car, we're like, okay, we're going to figure this out. So we start driving around, and I get so tickled, because we pull over at what looks like a little cute French antique store. We pull over, and I said, Savannah, run in and see if they can figure it out. She comes back out. She goes, okay, they were no help whatsoever. They only speak English, and they're just looking at me. So she gets back in the car. She goes, you know what? We passed like a Toyota dealership earlier. They're going to have to be able to speak English in something big like that. We need to go somewhere big, no mom and pop antique shops. So we get back in the car. We go find the Toyota dealership. She comes out a few minutes later with some notes. I said, so they were able to help you? She goes, yeah, it was great. One of them knew where the bank was, and the other one spoke English. So between the two of them, they were able to tell me what I needed to know. So we go to the bank, get our money, go back, buy our groceries. All is well. The next morning we wake up and we were really startled because there were police knocking at the door. And, you know, we're thinking, uh-oh, what have we done wrong already? Good grief. This town's about 50,000 people. Well, you know, it's a decent-sized town. So the police are at the door. So we go to the door and we're like, you know, hello, how are you? Bonjour. And he said, no, the owner of this house is the chief of police in our town, and we're just coming to welcome you. We're like, okay, so we're good. The chief of police owns this house. I think we're fine. One main lesson I was astounded by really over the years is how suspicious Americans are. Not me so much. I'm very Pollyanna, very naive. But most Americans are very suspicious, leery, cautious. Not them. So everyone's like, oh my goodness, did you lock up your this? Did you lock up your that? I'm like, no, if you're going to get into that, don't even get into the home exchange business, as it were. But we opened the part of their Volvo right here, and they have like a thing of credit and debit cards, and there's cash all in there. And I was like, I love this. They're not worrying about us and what we're going to take. You know, why are we always so worried about everything? So I thought that was really, really instructive to notice. Had a wonderful trip. Took the Volvo to Germany. We did a trip to Munich from there for 2 or 3 days. We went into Paris for 2 or 3 days. We went down to Milan, got to see the Last Supper, Lake Como area, some of the areas of Italy we had not done yet. And again, the thing I love about it is the cultural exchange. The next door neighbors had us over for what they call I believe it's called a raclette, something like this, and it's where they shave this cheese off and they melt it and it just bubbles up, and they mix it with breads, and just for a nice evening visit. And it was so wonderful to share cultures. It was the next door neighbor, so we were having dinner in a French home, not at a Swiss home that spoke French, but not at a restaurant, but a real cultural exchange. I could not recommend this more highly. If you have just a little bit of nerve, we had a flat in the Volvo. We had to learn how to go find the dealership, get the cars, the flats changed. It's a different situation than just being herded into a bus and taking tour after tour. Or it's different even from the really independent tours that we also do. I love both. I love cruises and the times when you can just relax. But if you've ever considered a home exchange, I can't recommend it more highly. We are in the process of looking for a home exchange in Europe for this Christmas season, and have several people already writing, showing some interest. So we're in the early stage, because you have to find people who are in agreement and want to do the deal. Again, no money changes hands. You just change lives for a while and for a few days. With Europeans, they usually want a minimum of 2.5 to 3 weeks, which you really do need to be immersed in it. So we'll do probably 3 weeks or so at Christmas, Lord willing. So I know I have a lot of international friends. So if you know someone who wants to do that, they can check us out on homeexchange.com. Look under Fredericksburg, Texas. You'll find us. I think it's about $99 a year to participate. We've only done 2 so far, and I would like to do a lot more. They are incredible. I can tell you some more crazy stories of the things that happened there, but I was just curious if any of you have ever done it, heard of it, thought of it. Couldn't recommend it more highly. Not only does it save you costs of local transportation and lodging, it's just a neat experience. Just to go and live in someone's home in another country for a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and see how they live is just irreplaceable. So highly recommend it. Let me know if you've thought about it. Would love to hear what you guys have to say, and we'll give you more updates soon. Time to go to work.